Yo, what's going on, guys? Kashi here. I literally just hopped off a call with a 21-year-old who's a student of my program, and he ended up making $1,000 in 3 hours. And it actually blew my mind up how easy it is to win with high ticket sales. And I wanted to film this video so I can capture the moment and really walk you through what separates people like Kavi from 99% of people that go into online business in the high ticket sales space. And they end up making zero money, no freedom, and they don't end up helping out their family. So let's go back to where it all started. Kavi invested in my program exactly 30 days ago. Yeah, like middle of July last month. And his progress was definitely one of the fastest in my program. So, cause he went from zero and in 14 days landed his first setting and closing opportunity, which honestly is pretty rare in this industry. And after landing that, he went on to make his first couple $100 in 3 weeks of joining. Like, really think about that. A couple weeks into starting something, he's already made his first money online. That was all the motivation and fuel he needed to just double down and go even harder. And within 30 days, he hit his first $1,000 in full profit, all for himself, in 1 day. Right? Like, honestly, it still blows my mind, like, how simple it is. And before I walk you through what separates Kavi from the others, it's super important to understand, like, why he even got into this space. Because some of you might be in a similar position right now and might relate to this. So for context, Kavi was like any other 21-year-old. He was doing a university degree. He didn't really enjoy it. He was kind of just doing it for the sake of doing it for his parents. And for majority of you, I think you'd be in a similar position where you're going to university. You don't know if this is the path for you. However, you know that you want freedom. You know that you want a decent amount of money, and you just want to do whatever you want whenever you want in the future. He was the exact same, and he actually ended up dropping out of university because it wasn't the path for him, and he took on a full-time job at Specsavers. Now, for those of you that don't know what Specsavers is, it's basically a retail shop where you sell glasses, and he was trading his time for money around 40 hours every single week under a boss. And at that time, he was taking home around $800 every single week. Like, doesn't that blow your mind? For context, $800, he made more than that in 1 day, a couple of hours at home from his laptop. If that doesn't tell you that the traditional ways of making money is broken, I don't know what does. And he got to the point where he decided enough was enough and he had to take a leap of faith and he wanted to test out this online business stuff. So I guess what separates Kavi from the average person that enters this industry? And after doing some reflection on the call earlier, I narrowed it down to 3 things. And number one, probably one of the most important ones, is student mentality. The number one reason why most people fail at an online business and end up making $0 is because of their ego. And I see this a lot in guys. I mean, let me give you a real life example, right? I'm sure most of you watch basketball and most of you know who Kobe Bryant is. Now, for those of you that don't know, Kobe Bryant is a very, very famous basketball player that did really, really well in his career. And when he started off in his rookie season, he was one of the most down-to-earth. Of course, he was self-assured and confident, but he would work the hardest. He'd show up to training first. He'd leave training last. He'd ask the most questions. He'd look up to his senior players and ask for help and just implement everything they said. And he was like a little sponge. And honestly, like Kavi, my student, has a lot of similar traits to that. I'll give you an example. I do coaching calls every single week in my community, and I can't remember a single call that Kavindu missed. He didn't miss a single one. And every time I wake up and I go to sleep and I look at my phone on WhatsApp, which is where my students have direct one-on-one access to me, if I look at the number of times students have messaged me, Kavindu was by far number one, for sure. And also, I have a leaderboard in my community that tracks how active my students are, and I'll pull up a screenshot, that way I can prove this. But Kavindu is probably the top or the second most active member in my entire community. Guys, it's no surprise. He shows up the most, he works the hardest, he messages me the most. Of course he's going to get to where he wants as fast as possible. If I had a graph with, how many times my students messaged me, how many times my students used me, and who messaged me the most and was the most active, the graph would literally be linear. The more you use me, the more results that you get. I know it seems like common sense, But that is literally the simplest way to win, is just to ask for help. And that is why Kavi got to where he was super, super fast. So the takeaway from that is, if someone has something that you want and they're giving you advice on how to achieve it, listen to everything they say and go and implement it at the highest intensity. And the second thing that I felt he had compared to the average sales rep is he focused on skill sets and not money. Now, what do I mean by that? Most people come into this space thinking about, let me try and make the most amount of money as quickly as possible, which is definitely not the right mindset you want to have if you're coming into this industry to actually build wealth. I'll share a story with you. If I look at my sales journey from 0 to 40K a month in over 2 years, the point at which I plateaued the most was definitely 10K a month. And that wasn't because of my skill set. That wasn't because of my work ethic. It was actually because I was so attached to that goal of 40K a month, 40K a month, 40K a month, that I would just push it away. And that's what I've learned, is this is how the universe works. When you really, really want something, you basically push that goal away because it becomes harder and harder and you put it on a pedestal. And what changed it all for me is when I detached from the outcome of 40K a month, I decided, you know what? Screw it. Let me not think about making 40K a month next month, 2 months, 3 months. Let me just focus on becoming as good at sales as I can. Let me focus on showing up as much as I can. Let me focus on putting more hard work than anyone in this space. And that's all I did for the next month. And what do you know? The month after, I hit 23,000, and the month after that, I hit 40K. And it was almost like I hit 40,000 by accident because I wasn't thinking about it. And this is the exact same thing Kavi did. And I specifically remember when he told me before he joined my program, he said, Kashi, I don't really care about the money, man. I don't really care about how much money I make straight away. I just want to be the best at sales and just get as good as I can at the skill sets with it, because I know that the money will follow later. And I remember hopping off that first call with him. I knew straight away. What he just told me is the reason why he's going to succeed. And what do you know? The proof is in the pudding. He just did 1K today. Again, goes to show the mentality that you need to win. Now, the third thing that I really narrowed it down to was Kavi had the actual courage to go ahead and invest into himself, even when he was at his lowest. And this is probably one of the biggest reasons as to why he got to where he was really quickly. And this isn't just coming from me and Kavi. We both invested in mentors. This is coming from the most successful people that I have met in this space and that I am actually friends with and have lived with. We've all invested in mentors. We've all gone all in. We've all took a leap of faith, which eventually paid off and forced us to make it work. I'll share a story with you. So let's talk about how I even met Kavi in the first place. For context, I actually got invited to a 21st birthday of one of my friends. His name's Arnav, and he's in the online space as well. And so I actually flew from Perth to Melbourne, and we were about to go 3 hours out to a place called Venus Bay, which is a very nice, green, luscious area where we will book an Airbnb and just party and celebrate for 3-4 days straight. And I remember just as we were about to get into our cars, just as we were about to go to the place, he introduced me to his friend Kavindu, who at the time, I had no clue he was going to be my future student. We were celebrating, we're having a blast. And I remember he asked me what I did for work and what I do. And I told him I did high ticket sales. This is my experience. I've been in it for 2 years. And as we were about to go to Venus Bay, we took 3 cars because there was around, 10, 15 of us. Last minute, he literally changed the car that he was in so that he could sit next to me in my car. That way he could ask me questions. Like, it just goes to show that he just had that killer mindset from the get-go. And for the next 3 hours, all we talked about was high ticket sales, online money, my experience with it. And he just got a lot of direct exposure literally with me. And when we reached the Airbnb on the night of the 21st birthday, when we're about to cut the cake and celebrate and have an absolute blast, Kavi comes up to me and he says, hey man, I was looking at your YouTube channel and I thought a lot about the conversation we had in the car, and honestly, I think this is something that I want to do, and I want to have your guidance because I trust you. I literally met you in person and I know that it's real, and I'd love to take a shot. Could you walk me through your mentorship? And bear in mind, there's literally like a party going on upstairs. Everyone's dancing, everyone's having a blast, and I go, sure dude, let's do it. And we lock ourselves in a room where it's quiet, private, one-on-one, and I'm walking him through, this is how high ticket sales works. This is what my mentorship does. These are the goals that we're going to hit. This is how we're going to get there. And by the end of it, he actually did it. And you know what? By the time he invested in my mentorship, he literally had $0 to his name. That was all the money in his bank account. And I remember him telling me, and I'll never forget this because it's such a cool moment looking back now. He said, Kashi, I don't know what it is, but I know I'm going to literally have $0 after this, but something's just telling me I have to do this. If I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? And I trust you, I believe you, and I want to be like you. So I'm just going to take this leap of faith. I'm putting my trust in your hands, and I really hope this works out. See, the main takeaway there is when an opportunity comes your way, when someone that is where you want to be is giving you advice, you just do it. You take it. Like Kavi did, he took that leap of faith, and look at him now. Like, he did 1K today in a couple of hours, and he's able to quit his full-time job at Specsavers and go online full-time. He's even thinking of traveling. Let's look at the alternate option. Let's say Kavi didn't even have the courage to go switch cars and sit in the car with me and have that conversation. Let's say that didn't even happen. Let's say he didn't have the courage to ask me in the middle of a birthday what I do for work. Let's say he didn't have the balls to come up to me and say, hey, I want to do the mentorship. And biggest of all is, let's say he just listened to the little voice in his back of his head and he didn't invest in a mentor. Where would he be now? And honestly, like, it brings like a big smile to my face because I'm so glad, like, of course it worked out and he's doing really, really well. But it just reaffirmed my beliefs that the best people in this industry, the ones that succeed the most, are the ones that go all in, take a leap of faith, invest in themselves, and just work super, super hard to become the best version of themselves. So I hope this video kind of inspires you guys to make change. And it doesn't even have to be high ticket sales and online money. If you're at a crossroad in your life and you've had opportunities come your way, or maybe there's an opportunity right now that you see, but you're just too scared to take it, you don't know whether you should, just do it. It worked out for me. It worked out for Kavindu. It's worked out for all my friends in this industry. And yeah, other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.